Welcome, Gabe. How you doing today, brother?
Hey Jay, good doing well, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, man. Hey, man. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Nomad Recruiters Academy. I want to just talk a little bit about your background. What you used to do in the past, to how you eventually found me and the program. And then I'll probably ask you a few more questions, man. But can you just start us off with what you used to do and what inspired you to I guess how did you come across me?
Yeah, no problem, man. So my start in my industry started 7 years ago. I pretty much walked into an insurance mortgage building and
Yeah.
they loved me. And I was doing that for 7 straight years and gradually making nothing every year when it came to my raises. And eventually they said, we can't afford to pay you anymore. And
Mm,
just please keep coming to work and smiling and make everyone happy, even though you're probably not happy. And I just kind of like hit that brick wall where I'm like, wow, do I really want to keep giving my time and energy to a place that's eventually
yeah.
going to dispose of me? And one day I came across some YouTube clips of something that was pondering in my mind of starting my own business. And to be honest, it wasn't your YouTube clips I came to. It was a
Yeah.
man named Ben Nader, who was also a recruiting coach.
Yep.
And he was dropping some gems, some nice ways to get started and everything, and that made me want to research this even more. So I eventually came across your videos, and I'm like, this guy is actually breaking down everything. He's genuine, he's nice, he's happy. He just seems like someone I could trust. So I'm going to
Right.
follow his program through YouTube.
Yeah.
And pretty much I started by getting my computer, my
Hmm.
cell phone, my LLC, breaking down to how much it would cost, down to the
Yeah.
penny to do all of these things. And I just kind of like jumped into it after that.
Yeah, man. That's good to hear, man. So man, I remember like I guess going back to when we first messaged, man. You told me I think we talked on LinkedIn at first, like I'm quitting my job next week, and you didn't have a job. It was like
Yeah.
I'm about to go at this full time, and I was like, this is like when I just finished, Nomad Recruiters Academy. So you were like one of the early like first students, and I was like, yo, bro, I just finished the course. And when I sent you over the course, I actually had my beta students had just finished the program. So I took on like 6 beta students before giving out the course, and they did really well. And yeah, man, you kind of like just took action, man. You told me you were going to sign up. You signed up, I think within like 48 hours, you took action, and man, you started killing it. I guess like, just talking about, you taking action of signing up so fast because so many people are hesitant when it comes to like, starting their business, taking action on buying a course, or they try to find all the information for free online. I guess just talk to me about a little bit about what inspired you to just go out there and make it happen or take action or signing up to Nomad Recruiters Academy.
Yeah, no problem, man. Pretty much, I broke all the fear-based mindset that we have. Like, oh, this person might be trying to con me, or this is a
Yeah.
lot of money, or I can't afford to do this. And I kind
Yeah.
of just broke through all of those. I told myself this is probably the best chance of me becoming successful in this field because
Right.
this guy seems like a really good dude. So I'm going to give it a shot. I mean,
Right.
I went through the program and I literally was telling myself, this isn't things you can learn on YouTube. This is something you have to pay for. And what
Yeah.
you're paying for is to become more successful.
Right.
And each course, each chapter teaches you different things
Yeah.
that you cannot find on YouTube,
No,
from
you can't.
business development to how to format resumes to how to talk to clients, how to talk to candidates, and
Yeah.
gem after gem after gem. So after buying that program, I
Yeah.
knew to myself, honestly, this is what I needed to become a great
Yeah.
recruiter, a great boss, a great CEO. And each day I've been getting better and better. I keep your course open at all times on my
Yeah.
laptop because there's always an answer you give out
Yeah.
in your course. And it's been very helpful ever since I got it.
Yeah, I remember, man. I remember when you first signed up. Literally, like you joined the program, you were sending me messages, you were texting me, asking
I
me
was
a
annoying.
thousand questions, and I was like, "Finish the course, Gabe. Finish the course, bro." Man, I'm not one of those people who get mad at people message them, but I was just like, every answer or question that you're looking for, answer to a question is gonna be in that program. And once you finish the program, you're like, man, everything is in it, really, man. I think I told people, man, I was in my Spider-Man underwear, eating cereal, bro, waking up every morning at 5 a.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning, building out this program. I took 3 months off of work. I stopped recruiting to build this course. And a lot of people, man, when they create courses, it's usually like, 8 modules or 8 videos. It's 40 videos, contracts, templates, emails. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need to pay legal fees. Everything is pretty much in the program to save you money and to save you time at the end of the day. But I've noticed that, so many people try to find this information online. And like you said, it's not something you can find online because there's a lot of scenario-based situations that I try to prepare my students for. So I remember, man, when you joined the program, you were like really successful when the first week you found the client, and then the second week you found the client. You really took action once you signed up to the program. Talk to me a little bit about, you just, finding that client within the first week and the second week, and how the course helped you with those steps as well a little bit.
Yeah, no problem, AJ. So when I started taking your course, in the beginning, I looked at that as like, oh man, look at all these words, all these videos. Some of these videos are up to 30 minutes long. I ain't got time for that. Like, I got the general basis of how this is done. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to let the world know I'm a recruiter and I'm going to be the best recruiter. So I hit my gong and I was telling everybody, I'm going to be your guy. If your company needs me, if your HR person is hiring, I'm going to be that person. And it led to me in my first week to getting some feedback. I was able to get one of my old bosses to be like, hey, we're actually in a shortage right now, like most of these companies, that we need some employees right now. Would you mind having a sit down dinner so we can discuss some of the upcoming like opening spots we have and everything? And this is where I went wrong of being lazy and not finishing your course, just clicking on a few things that jumped out to me, like, oh yeah, I need to learn how to do this, but not that, instead of just learning A, B, C to all the way down to Z. I went to this client meeting with nothing to offer this person except a free meal. And everyone at this whole like sitting down was like looking at me like, okay, so where are the candidates? Like, where's the resume? Like, where do we go from here? And I'm pretty much telling myself is like, oh, don't worry, I'll find them for you. But no, when it comes down to doing what I did in your course, that's a no. And I had to learn right away, like the hard way pretty much, because that person never really dealt with me anymore because I looked unprofessional to them. And it was like a learning tool I could have just learned by just finishing your course in the beginning.
Yeah, I was, man, my mentor. So I tell people, man, I'm an actual recruiter. I've been recruiting for, almost 7 to 8 plus years now. And, when I tell people, when you look at coaches who actually come from a recruitment background. Everything I tell you or advice I give is from literally agency recruitment experience. But my mentor was a lady named Martha Churchill. She's been recruiting for almost, 15 plus years. And I learned from her, man, was like, you never show up to a client meeting without resumes. If anything, when you leave that client meeting, you want to have interviews scheduled before you leave. If you're going to pay $50 or $100 for a meal, you could potentially walk away with a $20,000 deal in your pipeline from that meeting if you take action. Always try to go to meetings with 3 resumes, a junior, a mid-level, and a senior. But yeah, man, I remember you told me about that situation, and I was still excited because, you took one traditional route of taking your clients out. A lot of people don't do that anymore. Everything is online, but it's still a lot of opportunity taking clients out to eat. And I talk a lot about that in the program. So I'm really good that you took action on that. And I remember, I think you got this advice from me from our group coaching calls that we have every Tuesday and Thursday. And I know a lot of people have group coaching calls, but they don't think that the coaches actually run them. But I run my calls, and you can confirm
yes, you do.
But I guess tell me a little bit about the group coaching calls, man, how they help you and benefited you with your business that we have.
Yeah, no problem, man. So when it comes to those group coaching calls, in the beginning, I like I said, I was very, very like new to this field. So I didn't feel like I needed to. I thought this was just like, all right, you're a recruiter now. Just start calling people, start emailing people. But in your group coaching calls, you have a like wide range of students, from novices to experienced six-figure making students that all have questions to ask. And you are there to be like the teacher to all of us, the mentor, to let us know even the people making six figures have questions to ask. The people who are novices have people to ask. And you break down, even like going back to resorting to your course, you're like, hey, this was in my course. Are you sure you didn't finish this chapter of my course? And this person will be like, no, you're right, I didn't finish this chapter. Well, I'm going to explain to you why this isn't working for you, but I would suggest for you to finish my course because it's in there. And you just break it down perfectly to everybody. And it's an option for these people to go and jump on these group calls. Some do, some don't. But I feel like these are some of the best calls I could have ever had to become where I'm going in this field, because you break down a lot. Everyone has questions to ask. There's different scenarios. People have positive things that they're going through, negative things that they're going through. And you're just breaking down all the things that can possibly happen, what will happen, and just pretty much helping people with the forecast. You're like a weatherman in there.
That's good to hear. No, it's good, man. And it's like you said, once again, the calls are optional. Mostly for people to ask questions if they're struggling with anything on the candidate side, the client side, or just with anything in the course. And we have a diverse of students. We have students from the Czech Republic, from Chile, and it just goes to show that recruitment is universal. Everything that's taught in my program, you can use it in any country or state or city you're based in right now. So that's really the good factor. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, one of your deals, man. So you're about to close, one of your first deals is about to close for about $20,000. And this is like within your first 30 days, man. Congratulations. But we want to talk about, but we need to tell the story of what went wrong, and how you fixed it. And, for the things that you learned in the course, because I think a lot of people need to hear, I think a lot of coaches sell the rainy, like the champagne recruitment, but we don't hear like the rainy day story. So, I guess I want to talk a little bit about the candidate side of the course and how it helped you with closing this $20,000 deal that you're about to make. And we're going to talk about your other deal that you're about to close as well. But yeah, start off with that one.
Yeah, man. So we live in a very, very there's shady people. There's shady people everywhere, but behind closed door, you never know what you're dealing with. So you want to always want to prepare yourself for any kind of scenario. And there was a part in your course where you're pretty much like when someone gives you their resume, you're pretty much signing on to be this person's agent, and they're like an actor. You got to protect this person because they're going to probably protect you. So you want to build a relationship. And I was lucky to find somebody in XYZ state who was just super qualified. This is what we call in our field a unicorn. This man was started at nothing, became a vice president of his company. He he was saving companies from going bankrupt to building them up to like the top. And somehow looked at me and said, yeah, I'm going to give you a chance on my next opportunity out here. I called him, I talked to him. I pretty much had him sign on to be represented by me, which is something a lot of people don't even do with their candidates. Once they get their resume, they just throw it to the next person, to the client, hoping that they get signed. But I built a relationship with this candidate. He was really nice. And the client thought he was really nice too when they read his resume. They were like, oh man, this guy is amazing. We have an open spot for a senior credit union manager, and we want to take a look at him. So now I'm the middleman between the candidate and the client. They're asking me, hey, this person lives 3 hours away from us. Are you sure he can even come to this position and work? And I find out from him, I actually have family that lives in this area. We're planning on selling our house and moving to this area. So all of a sudden, this perfect storm is starting to come together. And they're like, we need to schedule an interview with this person as soon as possible. Here's our calendar. Find out exactly when he can schedule, and we're going to go from there. I scheduled him on their calendar. And later that day, the client reaches out to me via email and says, Mr. Proctor, your candidate just took another position with a different company. Thank you so much for what you did, but we're going to move on with somebody else in this position. Wow. And I'm just at first like, no, all this work. Oh, man, this sucks. I'm kind of mad at this candidate because he didn't tell me this. But then I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't he tell me this? Like, I kind of built a good relationship with him, and we've been talking for the last 4 days. So let me just clear the air with a nice little email, okay? I'm gonna write this man an email because we have now established ourselves as kind of a friendship right here. And I wrote to him, hey, John Doe, thank you for your time for the past couple of weeks. I was just informed by our client that you took another position with another company, and I just want to wish you nothing but luck, success, and great health going forward. Thank you very much. Second I sent that email, this candidate calls me and he says, Gabriel, I just got off the phone with that client and they told me that they are looking forward to seeing me next Tuesday in office and are excited to go through with this. And everything just kind of stopped in the back of my mind. I'm like, wow. And he was like, what's the matter? And I was like, I think I'm being cut out of this whole situation. And he was like, Mr. Proctor, that doesn't sit well with me. You're a good person. Why would anyone do that? And I'm like, because this is the world we live in. And he's like, I don't think I want to go forward if this is the world we live in. If they're like that to you, I was like, no, this can be a misunderstanding. I need you to go to the interview. I want you to kill it. You're going to do great. This is about you and your family. Like I told you before, this has nothing to do with me. We will figure everything out. And he's like, well, is there anything I can do? And I'm like, there is actually something you can do. Would you mind writing me out an email and explaining to me that you just got off the phone with this client, explaining to you that they're excited to see you, you're going to this interview, and everything is just kind of being misunderstood right now. Yeah. And he did that for me because we established that relationship as me representing him as a candidate to these clients. And I sent that back to the clients, and the client came back to me and said, oh, whoops, we are so sorry, Mr. Proctor. We accidentally mistake the Michaels in our pipeline. We are going to put your Michael back in our pipeline. And going forward, we will make sure we never make this mistake again. Yeah. Sorry. So, yeah, it just felt like dirty play to me. It felt like they were actually seeing the amount of money that they would have to pay me or save themselves from paying me and took a chance on robbing me. But through your course, through your gems, how to reform relationships with your candidates and clients, I was able to avoid a disaster that would have cost me $20,000.
Exactly, man. Woo-wee!
Yeah, dude.
Red flags. Man. I talk a lot about red flags because you're not the only person. Student in the program, there were students who joined my program, but before they signed up with me, they were burnt. And I mentioned, a lot of my competitors teach people how to find clients, but none of their courses focus on candidates. And it's so important to master the art of knowing who your candidate is and getting their trust, because that can be more valuable than a relationship with a client. You could get more information out of a candidate than you can with a client. And, man, so I'm so happy that worked out for you. But I mean, you did this, man. Look, man, you did this in 30 days, but you had no distractions. And I know a lot of people are thinking like, well, I'm still working my job, but we have students in the program who bring on clients, while still working a 9-to-5, but you took action. You didn't just take the course and just la-di-da or relax. And people have to understand that I'm not selling a formula that's going to guarantee you clients. You have to take action. It's what you put in, it's what you get out. You know what I mean?
Well, sorry to cut you off, AJ, but you have what's called a lot of business development in your course that a lot of people overlook when they jump into this field. They literally just think that this is just going to naturally work because people like them, or they're good with people, or they send great emails. There are so many layers to business development in this field that people don't really realize. And anybody can become great at recruiting if you dissect the business development. I found this client by doing something in your course I would have never done on my own. So I owe a lot of thanks to you, man. I really do.
I'm happy to hear that. I want to talk about that, man, because I know for a fact that a lot of my competitors only have one business development strategy, but I have, roughly 7 or 8 different ways of you to do BD. Talk about how that has helped you grow your business, or how it can benefit people who may not have a strong sales background or recruiting background. As you guys know, you don't need recruiting experience. I teach you everything you need to know, but talk about how the business development strategy can really help somebody who may be struggling with certain areas that they, may be afraid of tackling for their business.
Yeah, no problem, man. The name of our game is pretty much to collect resumes, collect good resumes and send them to the client. And that can just be like very easy. And that's what most people really do. They just collect resumes and throw them in front of clients' faces all day instead of going out and doing business development and establishing a relationship with this candidate. This candidate has a lot of information, a lot of different jobs they work, that they can pretty much inform you, I worked here, I did this, and I do this now. Even though if you're new to a field that you're recruiting for, this candidate is trusting you with their resume. They know you're trying to help them. So if you ask them questions that you normally wouldn't ask a candidate, you can learn more about that field. You can know who's hiring. You can know what titles to look for when submitting resume to certain people. Things that you just really don't think about when you're just recruiting, because the name of the game is just collecting resumes and trying to get paid for these resumes. But you can collect more resumes. You can find out more clients, and you can build yourself a big network by doing business development.
And I'm just curious as well, I guess when it comes to, oh man, I think I had one of those like brain farts. I had that question just at the top of my head, and I was just like, oh man, it was just there. But it was around the templates, like the business development scripts, the email scripts, like the BD. It shows you so many ways for business development. But there's a lot of messages that I have in the program to help support you. Not just like, all right, this is a strategy and way to do it, but I actually even give you templates and cold email scripts and stuff. So can you talk a little bit about that, and how has it benefited you in a way? And I always tell people as well, here's some examples. You can use them, but use your own as well, because everything that worked for me may not work from you.
I'm glad you said that too, AJ, because some things that work for people that make millions won't work for your average person. It's all about trial and error. You have to figure out what works for you. There's been early in my weeks where I'm just like, man, like I thought this dude was like Mewtwo. I thought he knew everything, but this isn't working for me. You have to change your strategy when it comes to certain things. You got to find out with algorithm and math what's working for you and what's not, and utilizing your skills. Like you are you. You're not that person telling you what to do. You're you. You know what works for you. You know your strengths and weaknesses, and you got to push your strengths harder than you push your weaknesses. It's easy to be lazy and just send an email that looks good to you, but it's not getting any responses. But you pretty much put in your course, yes, this is what works for me and a lot of my students. But if it doesn't work for you, try new things. See what works. Use different subject lines. And I pretty much have been doing that. Like in the beginning, I was just doing it lazy. I was just mass throwing out emails to a bunch of clients, and I wasn't getting any responses. But now I changed it up a little bit. I'm finding out what works for me, what they want to hear, what they want to see. So you just got to be diverse when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, and it's good that you mentioned that. Like I teach automation in the course, but automation isn't the only way. And I think people need to understand, I can show you how to send 1,000 emails, but there's more to it to just sitting around and waiting for somebody to come back and respond to you. You have to take action at the end of the day. You just have to take action. But I mean, like, for what my course costs is really undervalued right now.
Yes.
It is, man, because I know I'm offering more than my competitors. I know what all my competitors offer, and I know it's a lot, and they're charging $5,000 for their program. And I charge $19.97. And for me, man, one of the reasons why is, it's an early price. The value of the course will increase, but everybody, sometimes, man, people who don't have a recruitment background, $5,000 can be a lot because everybody doesn't take action when they join these programs, and everybody don't know if it's something they're going to like as well. I think but recruitment is it's not Shopify. It's not an Amazon store. It's really you finding a client, finding a candidate, and getting paid a deal once they get offered a job. It's that simple. I think people need to understand that. They look at these Shopify courses, they're 25 or $4.99, or these Amazon courses, and it's like, no, this is, man, you're closing $20,000 deals within 30 days. And that's just your hunger and determination. So you just made another placement as well, man. I didn't know how much that was for, but that was a longer payout. I think that was a 60-day. You get paid out in 60 days, but it was a deal, and you kind of closed that deal fast, man. Like within the first week. So talk to me a little bit about that deal, man. How much was it? What did you do, man? Because it sounds like it's starting to come easy for you and natural for you, man.
It is, man. And going back to your course, it pretty much is you explaining to us that you are here to help us make money. So you give us different strategies, even if we're struggling with our own business development skills to make money. And one of the things you also do is show us like, yes, you are your own boss, but you need your own schedule. You need your own this. You can't just wake up and assume this is just going to come to you. You need to just plan things out better. Like you're literally our teacher. Like it's not like you're grading our projects or anything, but you're telling us how to succeed. And going back to this this candidate I found, we're in a world now where a lot of people are very overqualified and they are taking positions that they are taking pay cuts to. And I just happened to go on one of the tools that you teach us in your class. Like, I'm not like pressing everybody to get LinkedIn Salesforce, but I'm telling these people it has changed. It is a game changer for me. Like it puts me more in like connection with these candidates. And I was able to find one that was pretty much is open to looking into like a new field. And I was able to get her resume, and the field was kind of similar to the one that I was applying her for. She was an HR person, but this was an onboard specialist position. And the candidate told me, and the client told me, wow, we love this girl. This girl is awesome. Wow. She's bubbly, she's fun, but we are in a position where we feel like she's overqualified for this position. Would you mind going back to this candidate who I've already spoke to and talked to and we established a relationship with, if she would be comfortable with a different role within our company, which pays like $11 more than what she already makes. So of course I called a candidate because I've already did my pre-interview and all these things that you teach us in the program. And she's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like I'm 2 years out of college making $19 an hour. And now you're telling me I can make $30 an hour. Yes, I'm okay with taking this. I'm so thankful because we're doing these people favors in the end. Like we are really taking them out of a situation they don't want to be in and putting them into a new situation that they may potentially retire in one day. So I naturally am just doing everything that I'm learning in your course, man. I'm establishing relationships and making sure to cover my butt when it comes to taking this person's resume now and giving them to the clients. Something I learned in your course.
But it feels good. Like, bro, like that's the thing about like I've done Shopify. I had a Shopify store. I got an Amazon store right now. It's not even doing that well. But I mean, like the feeling of helping someone feed their family, helping someone pay off their student loans, helping somebody take care of their moms, like it feels good. Like I've taken people from 50K to 100K salaries, and I'm their best friend. They're like, I ain't never had no one put me on 6 figures. You the family. Come over for Thanksgiving anytime. like you the family, and it feels good. And I mean, the great thing about our industry, man, like last year when COVID hit hard, all my jobs froze. So I adapted my business. Now I could have worked in any field of healthcare, but I really wanted to help out the cause. Man, like a lot of people don't realize it's the recruiter. We're the ones that's putting the work in, because a lot of these people, like, man, nurses didn't want to work last year. So we had to be making 100, 200 calls a day to try to get people at these hospitals. I was calling EMTs. I was calling emergency nurses. Everything was COVID related, but I was doing my calls. Man, I put so many people in the jobs, but you have to understand the power we have. If it wasn't for us finding these people, these hospitals would not be able to support the people who are going through COVID, like the importance of our job is so valuable, man. We, and the great thing about our industry, it doesn't die. You got to think when COVID happened, everybody shut down. What were the things that stayed open? Healthcare and recruiters. We were the ones still working because it was so many jobs. And now with unemployment happening, 7.5 million people are getting cut off? It's about to be hella jobs out here. Like, there's so much.
Yeah, man.
Money. There's so much money.
A lot of people are afraid when they jump into this course too. Like, oh, I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to bother anybody. Like, they have these subconscious fears in their mind that they're not doing services to people, but they need to learn they're doing a huge favor to these people, whether they think they are or not. This is what our job is to help both the client and the candidate.
Yeah, there's a sales, like there's a saying, like, man, like when you, like as a salesperson, when I call somebody 10 times a day, some people may see it as being annoying. I see it as me trying to help somebody. And it's the same for a candidate. When I try to call a candidate 6 or 7 times and they'll pick up, I don't feel like I'm bothering them. I feel like I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to upgrade their life. I'm trying to offer them a blessing. And I know that the opportunity I have is not going to last long. I know that I only got a 48 or 72 hour turnaround. I got to hurry up and get their resume over to the client. And then, of course, if I got to pay bills, I know in the next 30 days, it could be a $20K payout, or it could set me up straight. So people have to realize, man, the value of and power you have as a recruiter and as an entrepreneur. Man, I guess, how has, how do you see life now? I talk a lot about rewatching. So in the course, there's a lot of mindset videos. I want to talk about that because I told you, man, when you first signed up to the program, I think we had a conversation next day or two. And I told you the number one thing all of my beta students struggle with the most was mindset. Like, they had a lot of haters, naysayers, friends or family members asking them, what are you doing? It was a lot of like just mental things that they went through that constantly kept getting in their way. They all were killing. They all were making deals. They always bringing on clients, but it was a mindset thing. And what are your thoughts about the mindset videos that I have in the program that helps people, move forward, or how did it help you when you were going through the course?
Man, great question, AJ. And yeah, that hit me right away when I was starting to explain to my friends, my family, of this new journey I wanted to take. All they heard is, you're quitting your job. You're pretty much losing your mind right now. You know how many people don't have jobs, how many people don't make what you make, and just all these things that, like, in the back of my mind, I knew what I wanted to do, but it still hurt to hear the people that you care about and see and talk to every day doubting you and pretty much putting you in a category as, okay, he's not right now. The videos and the words you put in your course really did help the mindset that, like, pretty much scrubbed their negativity out of my brain. You put it out there that there's books to read with people who went through the same thing you went through and are now successful, teaching it to people who are unsuccessful and want to be successful. There's just a mindset you need to have when it comes to taking that leap of faith that a lot of people are, they're afraid. That's what it comes down to. They're just afraid of what might happen if everything doesn't come together in this new situation that they don't know of. And in your course, you're telling them that they really don't need to be afraid of anything. They need to be more afraid of staying in the situation they are than to take that leap out of what they're doing. And it's easy to say, but you just have to do it in the end. You got to not be afraid of what people think of what you're doing, if what you're doing to yourself is helpful.
Especially when these people aren't paying their bills. Man, I think I was a manager at, I was a manager, and I don't know how much I was making, man. I think I was around like 50 or 52,000 or something like that. But it was commission and all this stuff. But my paychecks were like $1,400 every 2 weeks. And my first quarter after I started my business, like the first 3 months after I started my business, I think I did close to about 40,000 in sales. And that was just like, I'm like, I've been making $1,400 every 2 weeks. And, working my ass off like 80 hours a fucking week, like working on weekends, working my ass off, bro, like getting fat and just not like mental health, bro, is so important. And
Huge.
huge. I talk a lot about Nomad Recruiters Academy. I'm traveling now. I was just in the Dominican Republic last month, and I'm moving to Brazil. I'm really about the nomad lifestyle, but it was just kind of like a reality just kicked in. Like, yo, why have I been doing this? And it's because we're programmed, man. I talk a lot about the Matrix. I talk a lot about that in the course in my program. I tell people to rewatch The Matrix. It's an important movie to rewatch if you're trying to become an entrepreneur, because it really opens up your eyes. When you start working for yourself and you start seeing life different. You got to think, Gabe. You about to close. You about to make $20,000 in 30 days.
Yep.
Compared to your paychecks you were getting in 2 weeks. And with that 20 grand, man, depending on your lifestyle, or you can really, relax. You can have one month on and 1 month off. You know what I mean? You don't have to feel as pressured, I'm sure you're going through this now as well. But when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to hurry up, take a shower, and eat breakfast. I could relax or stay in the bed for an extra hour or two, because I have got deals coming through. I don't have to worry about being in traffic, driving 45 minutes to work or an hour to work and driving an hour back. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to wear a uniform. I don't have to worry about a 30-minute lunch break. The endless, like, so many meetings, bro. I used to have so many meetings in my job for no reason, for no reason, so many one-on-ones, and then requesting, time off. Like, I just went to the DR for a whole month and took my laptop with me and worked over there. So I mean, I guess, man, how is it now? Because you left your job. It's been a good 30 days now, or maybe more, or almost. How does it feel? Not waking up to that routine anymore, or what has changed for you that you've seen that brought you more, better peace of mind at the end of the day?
So yeah, great question, AJ. And I do remember in the beginning of speaking with you, you told me something that was quotable from the Matrix. You said, "Be careful, man. Once you start on this journey, your eyes are gonna hurt." And I'm like,
Oh
"Why?"
yeah.
He's like, "Because it's gonna be the first time you're ever gonna use them, my brother." And that's
Yeah.
literally what
Yeah.
is happening, man. And you are so right, man. Like, I was working in a very tedious field of the mortgage
Yeah.
industry, which is at the record high right now. I was working 12-hour shifts. I was coming in on weekends. I even worked on Christmas. Like, they're like, "Hey, here's double time. Come in." And like, we don't really, like, you don't have a choice. Like, a lot of these
Yeah.
jobs right now are pressuring you, like, by like giving you some cryptic like message, like, "Okay, you don't have to come in, but like, that's on you." Like kind
Yeah.
of scare tactics to keep you there. So my anxiety was at an all-time high. And like, I'm always like thinking to myself, like, what if they get rid of me? Like, eventually this is just going to burn me out and all these other things. And I started, I started your course. I
Mm-hmm.
quit my job. I started making the phone calls, putting in the work, doing business
Yeah.
development. And it's been amazing, man. Like, I
Yeah.
can wake up when I want. I tend to wake up at around like 10 o'clock, when before I was waking up at 7 o'clock. And I am not a morning person at all. Like, I love to sleep in. I love to stay out late with some of my friends sometimes.
Yeah.
My girl and me like to watch movies before we go to bed and all this other stuff. And it's just
Yeah.
the freedom that comes with what we're doing is just, it's worth more than any money I've like made so far. I just
Right.
love the fact that like I have the ability to go somewhere with my laptop and my company phone and just relax, whether that's like in
Yeah.
Chicago. I'm about to move to Atlanta, something I wasn't even
No.
planning on doing
That's dope.
until like 3 years from now, when I was going to save up like 20 paychecks and figure out all these things that can go wrong. Now I have the freedom of going back and forth to Atlanta to see where exactly I want to go and hang out there, and just I have more freedom. The main thing that this has given me is freedoms. My eyes did hurt in the beginning because I could
Yeah.
never have seen this kind of lifestyle for me at
Yeah.
all. But
I
now
remember.
that it's
Yeah.
here, I'm becoming very comfortable with it.
Yeah, man. We're both in Michigan, man. You're like an hour away. I think you're in Grand Rapids. I'm in Lansing.
Yep.
And but we both, man, like, I'm out of here in 2 weeks. I think you're out of here in a week or two. But I remember talking to you. You're like, I'm ready to move. I'm ready to make a move, man. I think I told you, just do it. You know, man.
For sure.
Just do it. Just go,
Stop
man.
thinking about it, is what you said, man. Just do it.
Just do it. And that's the same with starting a business, man. So look, man, we're gonna finish up. I think, man, we got a lot. Oh, what was the deal? Do you remember how much the HR deal was for as well?
Oh yes, it was for 7,400.
Oh, all right, that's good, man.
But that was a split recruitment deal. So those are naturally going to be lower than your own deals that you make head on with these clients. This was a split recruitment deal.
All right. And what I wanted to ask you, man, I guess, last advice or words for somebody who's thinking about signing up to the program right now. What would you give them, man? Anybody who's thinking about signing up, they're hesitant, but you know that they used to be in our situation. They're working a 9 to 5. They want to start their business, but it's a lot holding them back. They're making excuses. They say that I can't afford it, but they got all this expensive stuff in their house that they won't go pawn. What's your advice for somebody who wants to join a program or who's thinking about starting their agency business right now? I guess your last words, brother.
My advice to these people is never be afraid to challenge yourself in life. Like, there's a lot of things that we do wrong as human beings, and a lot of that is mental. A lot of that is us taking someone's perception and making that our own reality. If you believe deep down inside that you're better than your job, or you can do more, or you want more freedom, then challenge yourself to do that. Don't just say that mentally, or I could do that, or I should make this much money. Do it. And this is exactly what I did. I come from a background that comes with no recruiting background. Right. I'm a community college dropout that was working in the real estate, mortgage, insurance industry.
Yeah.
And I am now proof that you can just do it. I'm not as educated as most people in your course. There's people that have master's degrees, PhDs, and everything. But I feel that with the hunger that is inside of me, the way that I challenged myself, how I unscrubbed everything people told me about myself and challenged myself, you can do whatever you want. This is an industry for somebody who feels that they can be an independent worker to do the most and become successful. And I feel like I'm proof of that. And I owe that to your course, AJ. I really do. I'm not even trying to kiss ass or anything, man. Like, your course is what I needed to take that next step.
You,
like, I had this in me, but your course brought it out of me, man. Like, thank you, brother.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Bro. You don't even understand though, man. It's all about taking action. There are people who sign up to the program who don't take action. And that's the thing, man. I'm not here to be someone's father or drill them, but I'm here to support you and guide you. And I give you all the gems, man. A lot of gems that are just still not on the market that a lot of people are struggling with, but it's so many ways for you guys can grow your business. But Gabe, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me today, man. I wish you more success and can't wait to hear more testimonial stories, brother. So I appreciate you.
Thanks, AJ. I appreciate you too, man. Keep up the success and blessings, my brother.
You too, brother.